The Book of Enoch is about the fallen watchers, the human women, and the bloodthirsty giants. Should Christians read it since Jude quotes it? Why is it not included in the Bible as part of the canon? Who wrote this book, and what is this book all about? In this video, we're going to take a deeper look at this book. It's a mysterious book, and it has gained a lot of traction lately, not just among Christians, but also among those who are into New Age and other religions. So first and foremost, what is this? The Book of Enoch is an ancient book with 5 separate parts by different authors, plus segments from the Book of Noah thrown in there for good measure. Who wrote this book? Nobody actually knows who wrote this book. The authorship of the Book of Enoch, like many other ancient books, is not very clear. It is attributed to Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, but it was not actually written by him. Enoch is considered an Al figure, and the attribution to him is part of this work that's called Pseudepigrapha. It's the writings of people that are actually not the true writers of these works, meaning that the true authors used his name to give the extra hours of ancient wisdom and authority. But Enoch actually never wrote this book. The Book of Enoch was most likely written by multiple authors over several centuries, with estimates ranging from 3 century BC to 1 century. At this period of time is known as the Second Temple period in Jewish history. It's a time where there was a lot of religious writing and thought outside of the Hebrew Bible. Now, what is the Book of Enoch all about? Let me break down the 5 parts of this book. The first book is the Book of the Watchers. It's first Enoch 1 through 36. Now, this section tells about the fallen angels who are called the Watchers, who descend to the earth and marry human women, resulting in the birth of hybrid giants, known as the Nephilim. You probably have heard a similar story in Book of Genesis. Enoch is the righteous man chosen by God to receive wisdom and knowledge. He's shown the secrets of the universe, including the workings of the heavens, and acts as this intercessor between heaven and the earth. The Watchers asked Enoch to intercede on their behalf before God, but they are denied forgiveness and are bound and cast into the abyss as the punishment for their action. So that's the first book. 36 chapters now. The second book is the Book of the Parables, 1 Enoch 37 to 71. This section contains 3 parables that deal with the themes of divine judgment and the coming Messiah kingdom. It introduces the concept of the Son of Man, a heavenly figure that will judge the wicked and establish a righteous kingdom. This term is later used in the ACT New Testament in reference to Christ now. The third book of Enoch is the book of the heavenly luminaries, 1 Enoch 72 till 82. Here Enoch is given knowledge about the movements of the heavenly bodies, the sun, moon, and the stars, suggesting a particular interest in astronomy and its connection to the divine or order. It describes a solar calendar that is different from the lunar calendar used by the Hebrews at the time. The next book of Enoch is the Book of Dreams and Visions, 1 Enoch 82 till 90. Enoch has 2 visions. The first one is about the Great Flood, and the second one is about the history of Israel, symbolically represented by animals. These visions, they recount the history of the world from the time of Adam to the established LM of the Messianic kingdom. And now the last book of Enoch is the book of the Epistle of Enoch, 1 Enoch 81 until 108. This final section includes the series of encouragements to the righteous and the warnings to the sinners, revelations about the future, including the resurrection and the final judgment. It ends with an appendix that reaffirms the judgment and the importance to living in righteousness. So now these are the 5 books of Enoch within 1 Enoch, the one that has a lot of interest, and probably where you have heard them different references to, is the first book that I've highlighted, is the Book of the Watchers. Now, I'm going to break down the Book of the Watchers just a little bit, more so that you will know kind of where. Some of these ideas have been coming from the Book of the Watchers, which is the first book of Enoch, which has 36 chapters. That book, I'm going to break it down a little bit more into the Descent of the Watchers, chapters 1 to 5. And that's when Enoch starts with a warning about the great judgment against the Watchers, a group of angels who have sinned. These angels see the earth's women as beautiful, so they decide to leave their heavenly home to marry them. This is, of course, is forbidden, and their actions start causing problems on the earth. And then if you go a little bit down, chapter 16, you will see the sins of the Watchers and the Nephilim. The angels now on earth teach humans various forbidden knowledge and crafts, which lead to warfare, sorcery, and all other sins. Now this angel and human union produce this hybrid offspring called Thales, who are the giants that bring pretty much havoc on this earth and actually consume the humans alive, leading to widespread despair. And chapter 17 through 36 talk about Enoch's mediation and the judgment on the Watchers. The Watchers realize that they have done wrong, and they ask Enoch to speak to God on their behalf. Hoping for forgiveness, Enoch ascends to the heavens, where he receives visions and is told about the natural order and why the Watchers cannot be forgiven. God declares that the Watchers must be bound and imprisoned in the earth, and their giant children must be eliminated. And the judgment is carried out, and Enoch is given more revelation about the workings of the cosmos. You probably have heard this, especially in reference in Book of Genesis about the sons of God, sleeping with the daughters of men. And then this hybrid offspring is being produced, and then the flood comes in to wipe out the hybrid offspring. And there's a lot of debate on that. There's some people saying that they were just the descendants of Cain. I lean more toward the fact that they were actually angels who have rebelled against God and who have violated their domain and have created a hybrid descendants or hybrid humans that were devouring people, and then God had to wipe them out. And so, but this actually idea is also supported in the Book of Enoch. That's not why I lean toward that idea, because it's supported in the Book of Enoch, but it seems to make most sense in concerning the explanation of Genesis chapter 6, and I have other videos that deal with that. We will link below. Now, why was the Book of Enoch not included in the Bible? Now, the term pseudepigrapha refers to the collection of ancient books written from about 200 BC to about 200 AD, and they're not considered part of the canon by most Jewish and Christian traditions. The word pseudepigrapha actually comes from Greek words meaning false, and to write indicating that the works are falsely attributed to authors who did not actually write them. So that kind of tells you right away why it's not in the Bible. It's part of the collection of these books that are falsely being attributed to different people who didn't write them. And the Bible is the book of truth. And so that right away should be a red flag why it shouldn't be in the Bible. Now, these texts often bear the names of biblical characters, but they were not written by them or within their lifetime. The Book of Enoch is not included in the Jewish Christian scriptures, with an exception actually of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which regards the Book of Enoch as part of the canon, as part of the scriptures, but the Jewish and Christian scriptures do not have it. Now, Jude actually quotes the first of Enoch. Jude 1 verse 14 and 15 says, "Now Enoch, the seventh event from Adam, prophesied about these men, also, saying, Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment on all, to convict all who are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have committed in an ungodly way, and of all the harsh things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him." Now, actually quotes from 1 Enoch 1, and I'm going to read it to you straight from 1 Enoch. "And behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all, and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness, which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him." So Jude quotes from Enoch. But it does not mean that all of the Book of Enoch is inspired. Paul quotes a pagan philosopher in Titus 1 verse 12. But it doesn't mean that everything that this philosopher wrote is Holy Scripture. No scholar believes that the Book of Enoch was truly written by Enoch. So just because Jude quotes a portion of Enoch does not mean that Jude thought that the entire Book of Enoch was valid or that it was Scripture. Finally, what should Christians do about this mysterious book of the first Enoch? It does provide insights into the beliefs and culture and religious understanding of this period between the Old Testament and the New Testament. Also, it gives us some understanding about the Second Temple Judaism. It's important to understand the Second Temple Judaism because it was this forming period for both Judaism and Christianity. We also see that the themes that are in Enoch, they do appear in New Testament passages, not only the reference of Jude, but also even this idea of judgment, the coming of the Messiah. These themes are in the New Testament, as well as it has apocalyptic genre. And the prime example of this apocalyptic literature, we see visions, angelic things. We see the end of the world scenarios, which is present both in Daniel and in Revelation. We should treat the Book of Enoch and all other books in the same manner that we treat all other books that we call Apocrypha, and I have a whole video about that, which some things they say are true and correct, but much of it is false, and historically inaccurate Apocrypha books are interesting. They're fascinating, but they're not accurate, and they're fallible documents from history. They're not inspired, and they're not part of the scripture. Dr. Michael Heiser said this about the Book of Enoch. Just because bad people like New Agers and people who practice the old use the particular book like Enoch does not mean that the book itself is bad. Bad people use the Bible, but we don't throw it out, and he would say that you should use Enoch in its own context, the Second Temple period, not in the context of aliens, meaning you can read it. What you have to understand is that a lot of the stuff is not true, and the whole idea that it's written by Enoch is also not true. So you have to use wisdom, and it's not part of the Bible. It's not part of the canon. It's not because Christians are trying to reject some mysterious information. It's because a lot of that information is deeply flawed. So if you've never read the book, well, this gave you pretty much a little summary. If you read it, I'm pretty sure you came to similar conclusions. And so if you've enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below what you learned today. Share this with other people. And as always, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share this with others. God bless you until next time.